What's going on, everyone? So it's been 12 months since I finally got my exam results to say that I was fully qualified and chartered in the SEMA qualification. So with that in mind, I just thought I'd let you know what I've sort of been going through over the past 12 months and what I've learnt. So first things first, obviously, it's, gives you a great sort of sense of achievement passing that qualification, knowing that there's a body out there, so like the SEMA body, who puts their trust in you to go out and give advice. It's a great feeling, but no one has ever asked me, am I chartered? No one. I've been in countless meetings with clients, and no one has ever said, before we start this meeting, are you chartered? So what that says to me is it's not about whether you're chartered or not, although it's a good basis. It's more about how you interact with the client. It's more about how responsive you are, and what good sound advice you give them over the long run, and how they can how you adapt that advice for them to go and implement themselves. So obviously go out and get that qualification, but moving on to the next one, you've got to learn new skills. So for me, I probably took about 3 months out, and then after that I've just sort of been trying to learn new skills. So whether that's personal skills, whether you just want to learn something that's completely different to accounting and finance, or whether you want to learn new skills which will enhance that qualification that you've already got. Don't let time tick you by too much. Once you're ready and once you're rested and recuperated a bit, get out and start learning them new skills. The next thing for me was start setting them goals back up again. So I started my accounting journey back in 2012 when I started AAT, and then moved on to SEMA after that. And all in all, it took me 8 years. So my goals for them 8 years was get the next exam done, get the next exam done, get the next exam done. And you sort of don't have many other goals other than that. You might have a couple of little ones, but your main goals is getting them exams done, as long as you're focused on it. So now you've got no exams left, you sort of might wonder to yourself, what do I do? So one of my things was what's my purpose now? I've done the exams, what do I do now? So obviously take that time out, but once you're ready, set them goals back up. I think all in all I took about 3 months out, and after the first month I was sort of thinking what am I doing now? Am I just sort of gonna just stop growing sort of thing? So I think all in all I probably took about 4.5 months out, but that was a month and a half waiting for exam results, which, as you can probably imagine, no one can ever relax whilst they're waiting for exam results. I definitely can't. So after that I took 3 months out, and after the first month it was sort of got a bit boring, and then after that set some new goals up, and just started ticking away at them. Doesn't need to be career related. It could be absolutely anything you want. If you want to go and travel the world, go and travel the world. If you want to start a family. Do whatever you want to do, but get them goals set and start ticking away at them. Next thing for me is network as much as possible. So sort of as accountants, it's sort of it's frustrating because people perceive accountants as these awkward people who've got no conversation, but the way of the modern accountants has completely changed. You do need to be interacting with clients, and a good way to learn good social skills is by going to various different networking events. Put yourself in that situation where you're forced to go and start a conversation with someone, whether it's the smallest little conversation, and then sort of work on it from there, but get out and network as much as possible. As accountants nowadays, we need to be able to dig as much information out from clients as possible, and good social skills will help you do that. If you probably look back, let's say 2 years ago, pre-COVID, the way accountants interacted with clients was completely different to how we interact with them now. Now we're forced to interact via Zoom, which is a little bit more of an awkward communication. But being able to have them good social skills really does take you to another level when you're interacting with clients. So last thing for me is on-the-job training. So I started off on an apprenticeship back in 2012. So I have literally been on the job training for 10 years now. And it's great. But once you're fully done on that qualification, there's so much more on the job training that you can get done. Don't think that you'll become chartered and you know it all. You really don't. If you've got that perception, you're not going to last very long, because people who are always wanting to learn are just gonna overtake you. So there's loads of on-the-job training to do, whether you want to learn new softwares which will help the clients, whether don't know, it's just keeping up with various different new regulations and things like that. But on-the-job training, there's absolutely no end to it. And that's where you're going to further your career the most. Being book smart is great, but practicality, nothing ever happens how it happens in the book. So get as much training as you possibly can, get as much exposure. If there's a new project coming up in work, say yes to it, jump on it. I've learned so much, even through my time from apprentice to management accountant to my current position now. I've always said yes to opportunities. People say learn to say no, and yet that is important, but also make sure you say yes to the right opportunities. Don't take on too much. Make sure that you can fully absorb the situation that you're in. Make sure you can learn as much as possible, but keep saying yes to them opportunities, and 10 years time you'll look back and you'll be glad that you did. So yeah, a couple of things that I've learned over the past 12 months. Some of them obviously not over, some of them have just been over my career. But yeah, let me know down below what you've learned sort of after you've hit a big milestone. Has it been like you'd imagined it was? Would it be all, sunshine and roses? Or is it just how it was before, but now you've got a qualification behind you, or you've got that milestone behind you? Let me know, and yeah, hopefully we can share some knowledge. See you in a bit.